Figured this was a good race to maybe do a post-race poll. What do we think? Let me get it out there to everybody here. Hang on. What'd you guys think of the race? Think it was good? Good race? Bad race? Is anybody in here? Yo. I'm trying to find the link here. How do I find the link? Is it live on YouTube? I know I have one person in here right now. Man, crazy finish. Denny got her done somehow. Denny got her done. I'm trying to figure out how to. Where's this post-race poll? How did you guys find it? Does it just pop up on your? Did I do it right? It's live. All right. Still think you were right on your Larson. All right, Brian. Not bad. Can someone share the link on YouTube, Brian, and then I'll retweet it if you could do that for me. And then I got a guest coming in here that'll be pretty entertaining, I feel like. Yeah, Brian, if you could just tag me and retweet the link, I will. YouTube notifications. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to multitask here. This is not my forte, a post-race poll, but I just think that there needs to be someone talking about this on something. I know that there's a couple of people that do post-race stuff, but all right, I got to get this guy in here. You guys know Worldwide Wob, don't you? Let's see if he's going to be. I think I sent the link to him. Message. Yeah. Okay, I sent it over to him. Sent via. All right. What'd you guys think of the race? I personally think that Larson hit the nail on the head. He said Denny's always right. When has Denny ever been wrong? I think that's the biggest thing. Like Denny has never. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, Denny's never been wrong. When is okay? Here's the thing. He washed out the track a little bit. Where Denny looks like an idiot is when he said he didn't hit him. Like, Wob.
What's up?
What up?
Well, I should have waited 15 seconds to join because I wanted to hear your.
Oh, well, no, I was just saying. I think. Did you listen to Larson's interview?
The whole thing.
Yeah, I think he hit the nail on the head that Denny's just never wrong. Like I commented on like Brent Griffiths or like Couch Racer. They said if you don't like Denny, why not? And I'm like, well, he's quick to blame, and he never is like, yeah, I screwed that up. And then Larson I thought Larson fleeced him.
Name the last racer that has fallen on their sword after a win and said, I didn't deserve that.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, that was like, you got to win. But when Larson said, I've never had to apologize to him. Like,
I believe that.
Yeah, I believe that. And then he's like, Denny's had to come to me like 4 or 5 times and be like, sorry about that. And then the no caution. Well, I mean,
the range of emotions that I've gone through since 3 laps left to go, because there's a lot to go over in this race. Let's start with the caution, then we'll move to the result. The caution, if you're throwing yellows for a piece of tin on the track and for simple spins throughout the race, this is the same problem we run into covering the NBA is why aren't the calls the same in the final 30 seconds that they are in the first quarter and the second quarter because they're technically worth the same, aren't they? Why do we have special rules for the end of race? Now you let him spin. Of course, you want to see if he can get it refired, especially if he didn't hit the wall. I don't think he hit the wall there at all. So they gave him an opportunity, but there's a really big difference between throwing it right away and then waiting to see if he can refire it. Because in this case, it's not the same. A white flag is different than green flag racing. And they waited a little bit too long, in my opinion, to throw the yellow flag.
Well, it just gifted the victory to Denny. Like, he clearly wasn't going to get it. It looked like to me, first of all, if it's at any other track, they'd throw it right away. Like, I know that it doesn't matter the length of track. So we have to like check to see like the NASCAR rules. Is it dependent on track length or
It has to be.
Clearly, otherwise, I mean, it's almost like Chase Elliott was leading this race. Like, I feel like Denny got like the benefit of Chase Elliott. So, but if you rewind to the racing itself, like, let's just go back to, I do not think that there was a green flag pass for the lead, which is just terrible for the sport. Like, when I even look at Truex, who was on 4 tires, you had Larson and Denny, kind of the 3 of those guys running in a row, and Truex had 4 tires, those other guys had 2. He wasn't going to pass him. He had no chance. Like, and I hate that. Like, you have to be able to think about, like, you're starting a race and we have a great car. The only way we can get there is if we somehow take the lead on a restart or strategy puts us out front. That's not racing. That's
So first of all, the answer to your question, if it was Priest that's spun, right? With 3 laps to go, was it Priest? Who was it? It was Priest, right?
Yeah, it was Priest.
Okay. So if he spins at 80% of the tracks, let's just say Martinsville, Bristol, Vegas, those tracks are short enough that they have to make their decision a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
Track is shorter. Yeah. And dude, with the speeds, they're doing 175 today, right? You can't have a car just in the middle of the track, dead to rights with the driver inside. He will die. He will literally die if you don't throw a yellow, which is my whole point. You knew you were going to throw a yellow. You granted him, okay, let's give him 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to take what, 45 to 50 to get around the track?
55 to get all the way around, but they were already through the tunnel turn. They had 10 seconds before the white came out to throw the flag.
That's a long time.
That's enough time to see if he's going to get it fired.
Well, I mean, but let's be honest with the audience here, because we're both biased. I had a $4,000 swing because I had Harvick in the top 3, and I'm sitting here, caution, fucking A. How could you do this to me? But if I had Hamlin, I'd be coming in here and saying things like, you know what? You got to give him an opportunity to refire. So I'm trying to not let my bias show based on the opportunity cost of what that late yellow just and I texted you this too. But if they throw a caution there and I'm sitting on a Harvick ticket, he would have had to go into the bottom lane in row 2. Otherwise, he goes to row 3 on the top. He's dead to rights against Reddick
he's done.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was the thing. 3. Like, if you were, and this is where I actually thought Reddick had the best chance to kind of win the race on like the second to last restart when I actually tweeted what I thought was going to happen. I cannot believe he had 2 right side tires. Everyone else had 25 lap old rights and obviously lefts. Older lefts. They had like 25 lap rights and like 40 lap lefts, or maybe 35 lap lefts. And I thought that Reddick was going to push Truex into kind of turn 1 and then take him 3 wide instantly. And I thought that this was a Reddick victory so easily, but Reddick kind of spun the tires, didn't even get connected with Truex, and Truex dropped like a rock. And then, then you have Denny not touch Kyle Larson. And
we haven't even gotten to Denny versus Larson yet, which I appreciate, because there's so much more about the race before it that occurred. So why was it we had 12 cautions? I think 12 or 13.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay. Why never once did the bottom lane connect on any restart? Is it because they had different teams? Everyone wanted to fan out into clean airspace. They were so bad at connecting that you had Kevin Harvick going back to row 2 voluntarily so that he could be part of the push lane, because everyone on top, especially with who's restarting there, everyone's going to be connected. And Harvick, while I'm trying to distance myself from being a biased Harvick guy today, he did the best job all day of staying connected and keeping that top lane so that the leader could always get out there and go. But that was a big deal because no one wanted to go down there besides Truex. And eventually Reddick fanned down there because he had the 4 tires at the end and he felt like he could just dive bomb and not get loose going into turn 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, the top is just the best. I mean, and that's where Skybox. That's where you kind of, that's where I think it's important to watch like the truck race and the Xfinity race, because I don't think that there was one restart, maybe one restart out of all days where the bottom actually was able to like take the lead, or unless someone slid up on the top lane, right? That was always an opportunity. If someone got loose and then kind of took it wide, then you actually had someone that could wrap the bottom a little bit and they would take the lead. But I guess I'm glad that we have the choose, right? Ultimately, you had the choice to decide whether it's the top or the bottom. But I mean, the leader had such an advantage. If, you know, that's just, man, that I didn't like the track very much today.
Okay,
I thought that there was.
Let me ask you this question. We know Denny Hamlin won the race, but would you say he had the best strategy today?
What's that?
He won the race, but would you say he had the best strategy?
He had to.
Pocono's all about strategy.
Yeah. I think, well, I would say Larson had the best strategy.
Larson had the best strategy.
Larson had the best strategy. Larson had, well, they had the same strategy. Larson executed better. Would be
he survived a spin and a crash in the wall. And he's the leader. And you probably should have won if it wasn't for shenanigans.
Yeah. That was the best strategy. I mean, if you look at, I'm trying to think of like Truex, you know, they had the 4 tire strategy on the stop, but that Larson in Hamlin, they had already made that decision when they pitted the previous time. They were going to take 4 tires. I think Denny restarted like 14th or 15th. And that was kind of the goal was, hey, we're going to run this thing long, and then you're just going to take 2 tires or even fuel only. I thought that there was a chance you could see some fuel only guys. You know, I thought if Chase Elliott was in that position where if he could take fuel only, he could go out there and at least take the lead and maybe hold guys off, because no one, like I said, no one passed for the lead. As long as your strategy puts you out front when you were done taking tires or done needing fuel, you were going to win the race, or unless there's restarts. So you had to have the best strategy. Larson had the best strategy, or executed it the best. I think Denny was, obviously that worked.
Denny had the best car.
Denny got the W.
Denny had the best car, I think.
Denny had a good car. Larson, but whoever was out front had a good car. It was like, if you look back in traffic, Truex was really good too. I think you could say Denny, Truex, Larson, and Byron were kind of the best, you know, but they had to be out front. No one was like driving through the field. It's like, oh, you had Tyler Reddick, or when William Byron had 4 tires and 18th. What did Byron finish? Byron finished 14th. So Byron goes down and takes 4 tires after leading a ton of laps, restarts 18th on the final restart, has a bunch of cautions, which benefit guys with tires because usually you think they can pick up 3 or 4 spots. He finishes 14th. Tires did not matter at all again. And it's just, I have to agree with Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart hated Goodyear, and right now they just don't have a tire that falls off.
Yeah. You know what? At the beginning of the race, the broadcast was talking about tires matter. And I think tires mattered for about 10 laps.
Yeah. Then everyone was the same.
Yeah. Because if Truex is out in clean air, he wins that race by like, I don't know, 10 car lengths.
Oh, if Truex got to the lead, let's just say when he took those 4 tires, if he was able to make kind of quick work of Larson and Hamlin, I mean, he would have been gone. He probably wins the race because then he's got fresher tires and he's leading, you know, so he restarts on the outside. I think this is kind of a snoozer finish if Truex were to ever get the lead, but he couldn't do it even with 4 tires. So,
all right.
I hate that. I hate when like guys can take no tires or 2 tires and have strategy. Like,
and in theory, it shouldn't work at a track like Pocono that is so long with raw speed mattering so much. You would figure tires matter. They
and
have to,
flat, right? And there's a ton of load on the tires, and it's an abrasive track. It's bumpy. You would think that there could be someone coming in with a Hamlin a hack comment. I love that.
You know, if we're going to grow this show, Chris, you need to put NASCAR in the title.
In the
If you have
title?
the capacity, put NASCAR post-race show as the
Ah,
title and see if the algorithm helps you out a little bit.
all right, yeah.
I'll carry the show while you do that for a couple of seconds, because your conversation of tires is a perfect segue into what Hamlin was discussing in his post-race interview there. And he said about Kyle, it's not my fault that he didn't have clean tires. He wasn't taking care of his tires, when I drove into him. So I almost want to ask you and ask the audience, like, what's your definition of because it was word for word. I think the quote was, I didn't touch him. Now in NASCAR, the literal definition of that, touching means like actual physical, the atoms can't cross. But in NASCAR, we know if you are to drive behind someone the way that he did, or you run him up into the wall, you didn't touch him, but you may have helped him, guided him into potentially wrecking. So is what Hamlin did today's driving, what degree of unethical would you put it on? Is it just the heat of the moment? We'll wake up tomorrow and be like, it wasn't that bad? Because
the Bowman incident, yes. The Bowman incident, I think he just took the air off the spoiler, and Bowman was already starting to get loose. So I don't think that was much of an issue. But I don't know. You got to win the race. Like, there's a lot of people that are happy on here that had Hamlin, that bet on Hamlin. And then there's a lot of people that didn't bet on Hamlin. There's a lot of people that just were watching the race just to watch the race. And they're probably going to be pissed about the way that he raced Larson. It would have been great to see them kind of side by side going into the tunnel turn, because he probably didn't have to wash him up the track. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you know what? I was booing my TV sitting here by myself. Okay. I was one of the people in the stands. And for what is now a 7-time champion to get booed off the track there by fans that you figure would appreciate him, but they also recognized in the moment the same thing that we're discussing right now. And I don't know if they have the right to boo, because they're sitting perpendicular. That happened on the complete other side of the track. How would they know like the inches of how close like Hamlin ran him up against the wall? And that fans are going to be fans. I'm not telling fans how to root for their sport, but since we have the luxury of replay and HD TV, we can see that, you know what, it wasn't a dive bomb, but he was in the gas. And Hamlin's reasoning, and I don't think it was a prepared answer, so it was what he truly believed, that his thought process was, you're going to have to get in the gas too. And since you're on kind of dirty tires up there, worn tires, I've got the inside track. You have two options. You can either stay in the gas, and then what happens to Bowman, or what we saw, just dudes just losing their tails, or you get out of the gas and you try and race me a little bit with kind of a crossover move, I think is what he was trying to elaborate on. And I can't really blame him for that, because what's he supposed to do? Kind of just tip his hat and say, yes, sir, I'm sorry I invaded your space. Like, no, we're all going for a win here. And because he didn't make contact or didn't touch him, he's going to feel like, I did nothing wrong. I was in my space. I happened to pick up my space and move it really close to your space. That's what Hamlin is saying without saying it. That's the quiet part out loud. But I didn't see anything in there that was egregious as much as I wanted to caution.
Yeah, I mean, it was... like I said, he took the air off a Bowman spoiler. I'm not concerned about that. But man, I don't know. I think if it's Chastain, everyone's like, well, yeah, of course he's going to do that. Or if it's just not Larson, I don't know. But what do you do if you're Denny? You're on the inside. You just let him go.
That's my point. Everyone that's mad at Denny, even look in the chat right now, someone's defending Hamlin, someone's defending Larson, and they did technically like make rubbing contact, but I wouldn't consider that turn contact. So Hamlin was like there. They definitely kissed a little bit. But yeah, so I guess in a perfect world, if you can go back and do perfect racing, people would want Denny to stay down low and just try and fan out on the straightaway and hope that that's some clean air to just straight up drag race Kyle. Is that what people want from that situation? Because he sure as hell is not passing him if Larson's on the outside and got momentum.
No. Yeah, I think he just had to to take the opposite side, to take Hamlin's side, I guess you say. Yeah, he's going to have to naturally wash up if he's going to be inside, but not to the extent that he did. But then he loses a lead. He has to get out of the throttle in order to do that, to actually like hook the bottom just a little bit more. I don't know if you're a Denny Hamlin fan or if you're Joe Gibbs, don't you want a guy? He didn't fence him that hard.
So,
like, it's not like.
Can I ask you a question? If Denny Hamlin had 4 tires instead of 2, are we having a different conversation right now? Because we'd be defending him down on the bottom, racing hard and saying he's got tires. He's going to try and dig out of any turn that he's out of. But because he has 2, which is the same as Larson, now we have this mindset that he's using Larson as a backboard, right? As a safety net. I can run you into the wall and stay straight because I've got the inside lane. So I'll kind of use you as a pillow. But if he had 4 tires, we'd be sitting here arguing he's gonna, the same way Reddick, passed Harvick in the with 2 laps to go. He goes down low. He's got the grip down there. See you later.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So we're not having that convo. But it's crazy how the little intricacies of that specific situation turned Denny Hamlin into the villain immediately.
Yeah. I know. Like, so I like Brian's question. And I've been saying this for a while. Like, I don't think Kyle Larson is clutch. That's my thing, is he does not win on late race restarts. He had the lead at Darlington. Like, what he doesn't win on late race. How many times has he lost on a late race restart at Homestead when he's dominated the race? How many times has he lost just late race restarts? He lost 2 years ago. He lost to Bowman at Dover when he led all the laps. Like, Kyle Larson on a late race restart, I'd rather have you in the car. Like, I'd rather just have Wob, like, just in the car. I don't care what lane. But Kyle Larson just can't finish a race. And a lot of it's bad luck, but I don't know.
Does he also drive the tires off his car too much? You can make that case.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's not aggressive enough on restarts. Yeah, but didn't he have tires? I think he had tires on that late, both of them. I think he had tires on both of those. I could be wrong though. Listen, I agree.
I'm jaded by the time that he was at Eldora and he couldn't turn his truck and he was just driving it into the wall, Chastain style. That was like, 2014, 2015. And I watched that man just ride the wall for 25 laps. And I'm like, you don't ever tell me that Kyle Larson can't close.
I don't know. I don't think he can. I just don't think he can. I think if he could lead every lap at Homestead, and then if it comes down to a late race restart and Truex is racing him, I think I'd take Truex. Like, if it's a 20-lap run, nobody's going to beat him. I mean, he'll put like the tail end down a lap on a 20-lap run at Homestead. But I think he needs to be more aggressive, Brian. I agree.
Big Ross in the chat says Larson has no choice there. If he lifts, you're instantly in 4th place.
Yeah,
that I agree. Larson didn't do anything wrong.
Like, this is a tough one. I don't know.
You never lift there, ever.
Yeah, you can't lift. But neither can you. If you're Denny, you can't either. Like, he tried to make it stick, and he didn't. But
well, then don't take the outside lane. I guess Larson maybe should have restarted on the inside if he didn't want to have to worry about getting driven into by Denny, who has a propensity to do this to pretty much anybody.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think Larson gets him back?
No. I think they're going to watch the tape. And they're going to see that it was aggressive driving, but considering that it was for the win, and you know how important clean air is.
Yeah,
he could have the win. Then he could have done a lot worse. He could have gotten loose by being too aggressive, wrecks Larson completely, and then we have a different degree of like Larson's reckless. Now we're putting him in. Hamlin's reckless, and we start to put him in the Chastain category. He's just throwing his body off of the top rope like a Hardy brother in WWE and just hoping he lands on the table, from like a 20. No, there's no analogy there for this particular today's situation. Hamlin did, I think, as good as you can do without it being obvious is my final hypothesis / conclusion. It's tight. I can go either way on
What if it's a guy? Okay, what if it's not Denny? What if you put William Byron there and he does that? Are people booing? I want to see in the comments. Are you booing? Are you booing William Byron, or are you booing Chase Elliott?
This is the theory of when someone becomes this big, like Denny Hamlin is, the natural human, they want to see them fall, right? There's something. It's why we're on the internet too. Like when someone gets big, you're rooting for them to fail. Just it's
Right. Yeah.
the way humans are wired in a way. Byron being the upstart, top of the standings right now. If it was Byron, yeah, I think it matters who was involved in that. Denny as well in the post game show is just doing the whole Hulk Hogan NWO black and white thing, and he's just egging on the crowd. He is turning heel, before our very eyes. But I think he's always been heel. Yeah.
I like at least Big Ross said I had Larson 9-1. So I know why you're mad. Like, I appreciate you at least coming on.
Right.
Because,
if you're in this show right now, Chris, if you're watching this, you likely had a bet. I mean, that's why Chris and I decided to do this, because we needed a vent session. I had my big bet was Harvick top 3. I had all the Harvick matchups. So I guess in theory, I should have been rooting for that, just the way for it to end, because I won my matchups and I was probably dead in top 3 anyway, but I was getting greedy. I wanted that plus 300. But yeah, if you're invested in a race, it's just amazing how you always see something that's only in your favor. As much as I try and watch it objectively, I can't. It's really hard to, man.
It is. It's almost impossible, like, to stay objective and like unbiased. I fight that. Like, literally, that's all I think about all week is like, was I wrong? Like, was I wrong about that? Like, ask people, and like, it's really, really hard, because if you had a Denny ticket, you're like, dude, he's going for the win. If you had a Larson ticket, it's like, oh, you can't do that. So it's really tough. I think you have to look at, I guess, from a betting perspective, who had the better car, and I think they were pretty even. Like, who got the better price? There were some people I know that Rob was talking about. There was 12-1 on Hamlin. If you had that live, that was the best price on Hamlin. I think that I want to say Larson probably was even higher than that when he went to the rear. Maybe he was like 14. So, but then again, it had to be strategy. No one drove up there, so every car was fast out front. I don't know. I think Larson, if you had to say someone got the raw end of the deal, I'd say Larson a little bit, but only because it was him. What if it was Chase Elliott that did that to Larson?
Oh, I mean, now when you bring in the Golden Boy, I mean, it does matter who's involved. If Chastain, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, if they're the ones doing the wrecking, the magnification of the reaction is going to be significantly higher than if it's Larson, or if it's someone like, if it was Harrison Burton going for the win, everyone would be like, it's okay, Harrison, you tried, good job.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to wreck them and go for the win. But because it's not, there's an expectation that Denny has to win clean. I think
that's true.
But they don't want to say it out loud, and that's why he got so booed. If you're a 6-time champion about to be a 7, then every race that you win, you just have to prove to us that you can do it ethically now, because you've done it any other way. You've made it to this point, and there are standards for you. You're not fighting for the playoffs. You're not fighting for your job. Shit, you even own a damn team. Like, that
no one's feeling bad for Denny tonight. That's for sure.
And can I ask you, would you rather have the race result today of Martin Truex Jr. or Joey Logano? Which one would you choose?
For what? Oh,
the race. I didn't provide context for a reason.
If the race result?
Yeah. Knowing what happened during this race, and which one would you sign up for?
Oh, I mean, you still want the points. I'd take Truex. Well, you got the playoff point, I guess, with Logano. I still think you take the points with Truex, because you get 15 playoff points if he wins the regular season championship. So I think you got to be happy with, if you're Truex, you had a good race. It probably got away from you. And to be honest, it was a 4-tire call that James Small, I think, probably cost Truex there. I think you at all costs had to stay out front. The 4 tires wasn't even passing 2 tires. So I think that Truex for sure.
Chris, they did it early enough, though, that you figured he has those 4 tires on for so long that he can survive multiple cautions, green, white checkers. Those 4 tires have to pay dividends a half hour from now. But we now, after this race is over, I think we're both in consensus that tires only mattered for the first
first
10 to 15 laps that you put them on. Isn't it usually the opposite for 4 tires? You want the long run.
It depends. I think that it was so hard to pass just because these cars just punch such an awkward hole in in the air that you just couldn't pass. This is hard to pass everywhere you go. You'd have to have significantly more fresh tires or fresher tires in order to make the pass. That's my opinion. I think I want to blame Goodyear, but ultimately this package just sucks. I mean, it just sucks.
Was there a single pass for the lead under green?
I don't think there was. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Someone in the chat would know.
Someone has to know in there. Well, I don't think there was a green flag pass for the lead outside of like 2 laps off of a restart, right? Like,
those don't.
You got to give someone slid up but I don't think that there was. I'm same with you there, Big Ross. I make most of my money on matchups. It's nice to hit a winner, but right now, you look at the favorites are winning often. Favorite last week won, favorite this week won. You go back to Nashville. I think even SVG, you go to Chicago. Yeah, he was 80-1 at the start of the week, goes off at like 6-1. I'm not taking some guy in their first time in a cup car in the rain at the first track at 6-1. So that's kind of chalk winning. If you go back to Nashville, Chastain, Truex, those guys were chalk going into the race. It's been a little chalky. Tough to make money when that happens. So, and unpredictable too, right? Like they open the favorite early in the week and then they stay the favorites the whole week. So, Jones top 10 was 650 this morning, which is a gift. Did Jones finish in the top 10? That's a hell of a run for him.
He went to pit with LaJoy.
I mean, I guess I haven't even really looked at the finish.
As someone with a LaJoy over Harrison Burton ticket, I'm sitting here watching him run first for 25 freaking laps. Like, bro, what are you doing? Why was he out there? Just to get free advertising for his sponsors?
Know. I mean,
what are you doing?
To be honest, it would have worked out well for him because then he would have had, if he would have pitted a little bit sooner, then he would have been fresh tires and leading.
He should have done the Reddick strategy because it paid off for Reddick when he went in. He gave up the lead. He went in, but he had enough time to make up for it with those 4 tires. LaJoy's just out there driving around for no reason, giving up 5 seconds a lap.
Dude, so Stenhouse finished 7th. Harrison Burton finished 8th. I mean, wow. Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, nowhere to be found kind of all day today. Bubba was decent today. Eric Almirola, he's got to be thrilled with that finish. He was probably a 20th place car. Ross Chastain finished 13th. Where was he today?
Wait. Before you get to Chastain, I was stacked against Wallace today, Bubba, for a couple of reasons. First of which is obviously wrecks during qualifying. You don't know what type of car he's going to have. Second of all, you talked about it in the pregame poll. It's always everyone's fault but Bubba. All right. Yeah. And the moment that came out of your mouth, I go, his crew's going to fuck up again today. Yeah. And I know they've switched his crew 10,000 times. All right. All the different Joe Gibbs Alliance crews that he got last year, none of them worked out. And then the final stop, I was staring at the screen because he came in during green flag stops, 15.9 stop on a 4 tire. And it wasn't because they were waiting on fuel either. Like he got wrecked by his crew in the money stop and he fell all the way. And that's when the caution fell. And I'm looking at the board. He just goes, it sinks like a stone. And after what was a decent race for him, right?
Yeah.
And Bubba gives you, if you say that the race is broken up into 4 parts, I know it's 3 stages, but the first 2 stages, and then you cut the last one in half, he will give you 3 out of 4 amazing stages. But it's that 4th stage, like an 8 on your golf card, that you have to explain as to why you played so well. You played par golf, but then you had that 8.
Yeah.
Messed up your whole
it's like
round.
Larson. Larson finished 21st.
Yeah.
That's that's the one thing I think I hate the most about this situation is the fact that not he didn't finish 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th. He finished 20th or 21st. That I have a problem with. That's just, man, I don't know. But Chastain, pretty bad.
Yeah. Did we ever get an explanation what happened to Ryan Blaney's engine? That shit
Yeah, I
sounded
don't
like
know.
me snoring at night when they pulled into pit road.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. He stayed out there, didn't he?
He tried to keep it going, but he was 10 miles an hour slower for no reason.
He finished on the lead lap still. Look at that. Ryan Blaney finished on the lead lap.
Yeah.
30th. Man, everyone stayed on the lead lap today. I mean, with the exception of those guys that went out early. And I guess Ryan Preece, he didn't finish on the lead lap.
But I'm sitting like they didn't, when Bubba had his long stop during the money stop, they didn't talk about him on the broadcast. They didn't go to his crew chief at all during the show. And I'm like, boy, someone's got to be steaming inside that car right now because it happened to him again. And he had driven through all like his mistakes too.
He was good today. Like
he was great
driving.
with the wrecked car. He was great.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good.
And he fell out of the top 10 because of a shitty stop. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's either snake.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I'm sure there are people here that had him top 10 too and finished 11th.
He certainly had the car for it, but
he was a top 10 car, I think, all day. I think if you look at his, I haven't seen the loop data, but he was pretty good. But I gotta get going.
All right.
My wife, I'd hang out with her a little bit. So
on Sunday. Hey, she's got to know on Sunday that
I know she knows up until like a certain point. I actually put everything in the calendar, like how long I think the race will go. But it's been raining so much. I'm like, I'll just see you Monday. So
that's what you should be doing because you need to start doing these post-game shows too.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some more of this, huh? Does that sound good?
All right.
All right. See you, everybody. Take it easy.
Deuces.